Hey everyone, this is Rabbitearsblog and welcome to another top 10 video series. So today's top video was requested to me by Boobop1987 and you can check out the link to her channel in the description box below. And this is what she suggested for this week. So, what is your top 10 best characters that you would invite for dinner? It could be anybody that you want for movies, TV shows, anime, or some characters that would be based by a book. Just pick anybody. And I have to admit, this was a really hard list for me to do because there's so many characters out there that I really would love to invite over for dinner. But I could only narrow it down to 10, and I was close to doing like my honorable mentions, but I was like, nah, not for this video. So I'll be looking at some of the characters, the top 10 characters I would like to invite over for dinner. And here's a list of my top 10 characters that I would like to invite over for dinner. So let's start with number 10. So number 10 is Belle from Beauty and the Beast. I would like to invite Belle over for dinner because she seems like a very nice person, and the best aspect about her character is that she loves to read. And what do you know? I'm a book reader myself, so I would love to invite Belle over for dinner because I would like to talk about the various books we like to read. Maybe I could ask her, do you go? What kind of libraries do you like to go to, and what kind of books do you like to read? I'd be interested to see what kind of books she likes to read and how often she reads every day. So she'd be a really nice character to talk to when it comes to reading books. So number 9 is Mulan from Mulan. I always love seeing movies that have strong female protagonists, and I would really like to invite Mulan for dinner because I would like to hear about her adventures in the Chinese army and how she's able to train all those months and what's it like for her to be a woman training in the army. So those are some questions I like to ask Mulan, and it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what are her views about the society as a whole when they how they treat women and stuff like that. So she'd be a pretty good conversationalist when it deals with how her life is like in the military and how she thinks society treats women as a whole. So number 8 is Elsa and Anna from Frozen. So I would definitely like to talk with Elsa and Anna. Like I put two people on this on as number 7 because since Elsa and Anna are both sisters, I felt like it would be a shame to leave one of them out. So I decided to put both Elsa and Anna as number 8 for the list. So I wanted to talk to both of these sisters because they're sisters and I also have two other sisters and we can really relate to each other discussing about what we do with our sisters, what how we spend our times with our sisters, what we like to do with our sisters. I like to see what Elsa and Anna like to do in the spare time whenever they're not worrying about the kingdom. Do they play games with each other, stuff like that. So I like to see what their relationship with each other is like, and I think a good way to talk about it is like over dinner, like invite both of them to dinner and just have both of them talk about what their lives were like being sisters and everything. And I also like to ask Elsa about how she got her powers, but Anna doesn't have her powers, or Anna doesn't have any powers, even though she's related to Elsa. So I'm really curious about all of that, and that's why I want to invite both Elsa and Anna over for dinner. So moving on to number 7, we got Reggie Rocket from Rocket Power. So I definitely wanted to invite Reggie Rocket over for dinner because she seems like a really fun person to be around with, especially since she loves doing sports and everything. I would love to ask her about how she's able to like rollerblade and do ice hockey and then swim and do all kinds of sports at one time and never get tired that much. And I like to ask her about how many times a day she goes out to skate or do all these extreme sports with her brother and her friends. So I really would love to ask Reggie about all these kind of questions about how she's able to like have all this energy to do all these sports and be able to be so good at all these sports at the same time. So moving on to number 6, we have Buffy Summers from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I'm really interested in knowing how Buffy's able to balance her time in school and be a vampire slayer at the same time. And I also want to see how Buffy what Buffy thinks about being a vampire slayer as a whole. Does she think is a great thing? Does she think is a bad thing? I'm really interested to know, and she seems like a fun person to be around. And I would like to ask her, how are you getting some good snarky comments here and there? I like to snark as much as you do. So I think Buffy Summers would be a really fun person to hang around, especially since I want to learn more about her vampire slaying adventures and how she feels about trying to balance between school or balance between her personal life and her vampire slayer duties. So she would be a fun person to talk with over dinner. So number 5 is Harry Potter from the Harry Potter book series. I love reading the Harry Potter books when I was younger, and I've always enjoyed the fact that Harry is a wizard, and I like to invite him over for dinner because I like to see what it's like for him to learn all these magic tricks and how to defeat these bad guys like Voldemort. So I'm really interested. I would be really interested to invite Harry Potter over for dinner just to ask him what it's like to be a wizard, what it's like to fight against the forces of evil. How is he liking his life at Hogwarts? I'd like to ask Harry all sorts of questions involving his magical background. So number 4 is Goku from Dragon Ball Z. I'd be really interested to talk with Goku because he's like a Super Saiyan or he's like a Saiyan. I would like to ask Goku, over dinner, how are you able to eat so much? The only problem about inviting Goku over for dinner, though, is that I know he's going to eat a lot. So that means I will have to go out of my way to buy all this food just for Goku to eat off of. But that would probably cost like almost all my money. So I don't know. That's the dangerous part about inviting Goku over for dinner is that he's going to eat me out of my house at home. But other than that, I would like to know about what Goku thinks about being a Saiyan. How he's able to train so hard to fight all the forces of evil. Um, yeah, how much time does he spend with his family? I'm really interested in knowing about that part. So I like to know about Goku's fighting abilities and about how much time he spends with his family. But the biggest problem about probably inviting Goku is that he's gonna probably eat me out of house or home because he eats so much. But hopefully that won't be much of a problem. Like hopefully I find a way to be able to whet his appetite where it won't involve me like eating me out of my house or home and stuff like that. That's the only problem with inviting Goku over for dinner. But overall, I'm really interested to see what his thoughts would be about the topics I'm going to discuss with him over dinner. So number 3 is Kitty Pryde of the X-Men. I'd be really interested in inviting Kitty over for dinner because she seems like a really nice and fun loving girl that I would like to talk a lot of things about. Like I like to talk to her about how she's able to phase through all these walls and how it feels like to phase through everything. What her relationships with the X-Men are. I like to see what a relationship with Wolverine's like. That'd be cool. So but the best part I would like to talk about Kitty with is about her phasing powers and how she feels about phasing through the walls and does she think it's pretty cool phasing through the walls and everything. So I'd be really happy to see to invite Kitty over for dinner just to see what her opinions about being an X-Men are and what her relationship with the X-Men are and about her phasing powers, what are they like to her and does she find them fun to do, does she find them a little weird? I like to know all that over dinner. Moving on to number 2 is Colossus from the X-Men. I was always fascinated by Colossus's character, and he seems like the type of person who'd be great for to invite over for dinner. Like I like the fact that he's a really nice guy, and he's also Russian, and I like to know what it's like for him to like transform into steel form. Like, does his body feel really heavy when he's having to tote all that steel on his body. What is his life like at the X-Men? You know, is he happy fighting with the X-Men? And what his relationships with each X-Men member are. I like to know about all that, about Colossus, and what was his life like before he moved with the X-Men. You know, it's been explained in the comics that he was a farmer, so I like to know he thinks about being a farmer at the time, and how it compares to his life as an X-Men now. So Colossus would be a really interesting character to talk with over dinner, just to discuss about his life as an X-Men, and what his life was like before he joined the X-Men. So he'd be a pretty interesting character to talk with. And number one is Sonic the Hedgehog from the Sonic the Hedgehog video game series. I think Sonic the Hedgehog would be a really fun character to take over with dinner, because he's such a fun loving guy. He has such a carefree attitude, and that's what I love about his character. And he seems like he'd be a lot of fun to talk with over dinner. I like to ask him questions about his speed. You know, how does he feel like running so fast all the time, and how does he feel about trying to stop Dr. Eggman or Dr. Robotnik from his evil plans? I like to know so much about Sonic's character, and I like to know about his relationship with his friends like Tails and Knuckles. So he'd be a really entertaining character to like talk over with dinner, and that's why he's my number one character I would like to invite over for dinner. He just seems so carefree and such a fun loving character, and I think we would have lots of fun over dinner, especially when I'm talking to him about a lot of things about his life and everything. Well, those are my top 10 characters I would like to invite over for dinner. And tell me in the comments below what would be your top 10 characters you'd like to invite over for dinner. Please feel free to comment below, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter so I can keep you updated any new videos I post up. And also, like my Facebook page, Rabbitearsblog's Best Comments. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Rabbitearsblog, and I'll see you later.